All right, here it is. I've got the package right beneath here, right here, for the One Ring second edition role-playing game. So we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing here on this channel. Enjoy. Here we go. We're going to open the box. There's a small little dent in the box, if you can see it, right here when the package was delivered, but it should be fine. And there they are, the packing peanuts, the dice, the ceramic dice with the 11sies and all. I did get both cloth maps, and there is also a little bit of an extra surprise in here from Free League. So here are both cloth maps. We'll get to those later. The Shire and Eliador. Lore Master's screen. And the collector's edition. I did back at the My Precious level. My Precious. I'm just going to get everything out here. And then we'll dig into it. The starter set with our 3 hobbits venturing into the old forest. And here's a little bit extra. My Precious pledge level does not come with a normal standard edition core rulebook, but I chose to back. It did not come with, did not come wrapped. So we'll take a look at that. So I added on this as an extra add-on. So I have 2 core rule books. And here's the little bit of the surprise. I also backed the Alien starter set, or not starter set, the Alien core rule book from Free League. And that should be everything with these packing peanuts. Alright, so here we go. We'll start, as any good gamer, with the dice. So I just have the 2 sets, the ceramic dice and the dice that will come with the starter set. Alright, so as you can see, we've got a handful of D6s, 6 of them to be precise. And if you know nothing about the rules at all, the way the system is going to work is you will always roll a number of D6s called success dice equal to your rank in whatever skill, right? So a number of skills are courtesy, insight, inhorten, scan, and those all have ranks in them, and depending on your rank, you will roll a number of D6s. And then you'll always be rolling this 12-sided dice, 2 12-sided dice if you have a favored skill, and you keep the best result. If you have an ill-favored skill, for whatever reason, you will roll 2 and keep the worst result. So the dice are numbered 1 through 6, and 1, 2, and 3 are all outlined like this. So that is an effect that comes into the game that in certain instances, 1, 2, and 3s will count as zeros when they come up. And then we also have 6. Yes. Here we go. 4, 5, and 6. And there's a little Tangwar symbol here, which counts as extra successes or bonus actions, kind of like stunts. And on the D12s, They're just counted, they're supposed to be, but these are misprinted. Should be counted 1 to 10. And then the 11 is supposed to be the Eye of Sauron. Right now, these are misprinted, and the 11 is on the die, and the 1 is replaced by the Eye of Sauron. And then there's the 12, which is replaced by the Gandalf rune that Gandalf the Grey draws on Bilbo Baggins' Shire Hobbit hole door. Sound pretty good. Just roll the dice. I'm going to go get my standard dice. You can't really see them that close up here, so... Yeah, so these are the Q Workshop dice, and they're basically the exact same way, except first edition doesn't have the ill-favored and favored rules. So Q Workshop, the dice are very, very pretty. These, I do like these. Some people were saying they don't like them too much, but I kind of like the dark. They kind of feel about the same as the Q Workshop dice. Yeah, I like them. These are the standard bone dice. These feel a little lighter, but I don't know, enough. And I got these red dice too. All right, enough fun with dice. And here we go, starter set. The One Ring. Look at that, it's beautiful. Strange invitation from Cousin Bilbo mentioning that he's in need of help. Most odd, but then again, a great many things about that peculiar hobbit have been odd ever since that business with the dragon. Nothing wrong with taking a stroll and helping old Bilbo, I suppose. After all, there aren't any dangers to worry about here in the Shire. And I've had the PDF for a while, so I've read through some of the Shire booklet, and I'm online right now playing as Esmeralda Took in the game. So these are characters from the lore. They all characters who are related to the four hobbits in some way. So Merry, Drogo, Baggins, and Pramila Brandybuck are Frodo's parents. Esmeralda Took is Meriadoc's, or Mary's mother. Paladin Took is Pippin's father. Roy Brandybuck is the uncle, right? Yeah, the uncle to Frodo. Roy is Pramila's brother. So, all very cool. So I know what's kind of in there already, but for those people who do have no idea, who did not back the Kickstarter, we can find out together. Because I've seen people do other unboxings, and they can fit basically everything but the core rulebook into this box, which is pretty nice. There we go. Throw that off to the side. There we go. Look, yo. I love Martin Grip's art work. I do kind of like that they did this. A nice little miniature Lore Masters screen that you can set up when running the Sword of Adventures. It's got the Shire events. die roll, results, degrees of success, modifiers, your hope, and how to rest, and what distinctive features you, which is important in this game. And the 2 conditions, weary and wounded, are your 2 main conditions in the starter set at least. So let's set that. Right. Oh, right. Fine. Right there. All right. We will not spend as much time. Yeah, we'll open up these cream-colored dice for player dice. The ceramic dice are. I love it. Love it. 11s. I rolled in 11s. All right. Enough of that. All right. Throw that aside. And we've got the player mats for combat. So the 4 stances of combat, the 3 close combat stances, and 1 ranged stance that you can choose depending on it. And then there are, so when you're on a journey, you have to have these rolls filled to complete events. But I like that they made these look like coasters. It harkens back to Francesco Nepatello's game, The Hobbit Tales, that he produced with Cubicle 7, where you would have coasters that kind of look like this. Those coasters were a little bit thicker, but these still kind of look like coasters. So you would have coasters, and you would put points. The points you received in the game, you would either go underneath the coaster or above the coaster, depending on if you were buying rounds of drinks for everyone. So enough for a 6-player fellowship, it looks like. So that's pretty nifty, like that. And then let's see. There we go. I really do like this. The fact that we have these nice little things you can hand the players cards, and then they can write what those things do on there. These are just basic equipment, no magical equipment cards. I wonder if they will. It'd be kind of cool if they came out with cards like this, but they were magical equipment. So like, I know like the Lore Master is kind of supposed to design specific equipment, magical equipment. But it'd be cool if they came out with cards like that. Pre-made cards in a future supplement or something. So yeah. So then a little bit of flavor text and stats for what they do on the back, and that's pretty nice. Like these. There we go. Games catalog. Played Morkborg before with my friend. All right. Okay. Let's be nice. There's the regular paper mat, which this is really thick paper. I love the color. I love the thickness. A lot thicker than first edition for sure. So pretty good quality, I would say. And let's take that out. And here it is, the Shire map on the back. The 4 farthings, Bag End, Hobbiton, Bywater, Waymeet, Mickle Delving, and a little bit of the Old Forest. Lovely. Alright, here's the full size of the Shire map. I mean, yeah, even the paper map. I probably could have gotten away without getting the cloth maps, but I don't know. My dragon sickness got the better of me. Dwalling. Hard Bottle. Brace girdles from Hard Bottle. Yes, I love it. I know I love these little indents of maps. So we have Buckleberry and Buckle Hill, and then Big End and Hobbiton here. So very cool. And then Eriador, Tharbad, Bree and Weathertop, Aminuis. I'm sorry, I'm horrible at pronunciation. The Grey Havens, the Palantir, Rivendell and the Last Bridge, and the Doors of Dur and Tamoya. Oh, what's that? Isengard. And Lion. Eriador. So, lovely, lovely map. All right. So Drogo Baggins. I think when I run this, so they don't give you a reward, but when I run this, I believe I'm going to, when they get to the second adventure, allow players to choose a reward from the book, and probably add them an extra useful item, just so they can kind of have a little bit of ownership, I guess. But yeah, the Shire adventures are very low stakes, kind of meant to. The Shire adventures are kind of meant to just introduce you into the game with some fun lore characters. You know, who would not want to play Esmeralda Took? Or, of course, Lobelia Bracegirdle before she married Otho Saxville Baggins. So, I do like how they made this look like it was written in pencil. Very cool. And yes, all of the art. Her amazing umbrella. Fantastic. Paladin Took. Primula Brandybuck. Warrior Mac Brandybuck. And if you plan to play these, turn off the video or skip to a different part of the video because this is going to be a spoiler. Later in the adventures, you can play as Balin, son of Fundin, and Bilbo Baggins with his magic ring. I wonder what that is. I'm sure it's just a useless trinket. Balin, son of Fundin, for a slightly more higher level character. And Bilbo Baggins. Let's jump into just a flip through of the rules in the starter set. Not going to go super in depth. This is just a look through. We've got Bilbo's letter to Balin. Prologue. Yes. His sword sting Bilbo hung over his fireplace, and his coat of marvelous mail, the gift of the dwarves from Dragon Hoard, he lent to a museum to Mickle Delvine Mantham House. In fact, but he kept it in the drawer at Bag End. The old cloak and hood that he had worn on his travels and the ring secured on a fine chain remained in his pocket. Dearest Balin, almost 6 years ago have passed already since the last time you were here. I remember very well everything you and Gandalf said when we met. You were alarmed, and I took your warnings to heart, but I don't think you would find it surprising to know that the news of a nameless threat is hard to believe here in the dear old Shire. Gandalf came to see me again on several occasions. He seems to care about our friendship, and he says I should indeed be worried, but his vague words of warning make me even less of a dent in the general sense of peace and protection that we enjoy here away in the northwest. But don't think that I am completely clueless. All I need is to have a look at the things I collected in my adventures to remember that there is a wide and dangerous world out there. Sometimes I even miss it. The road, the thrill, the narrow escapes. It's my Turkish side. But then I look at my beautiful garden and my snapdragons and sunflowers, my trailing nasturtiums, how they glow red and golden, more beautiful than any dragon horde that ever was, and I am back to being a Baggins. I hope what I say won't be too much of a disappointment to you. You haven't asked yet, but I know that you mean to invite me to join in that Moria adventure you are always talking about. I am afraid that I have spent enough time crawling in the dark under the misty mountains not to wish to do that ever again. But there's a good bunch of eager lads and lasses here that you might find to your liking. Why, they are just waiting for no more than a nod in their direction from me or from our grey friend to go off into the blue on mad adventures. Theirs is an age that is more appropriate to that type of business, believe me, and I have taught them a thing or two. I suspect that Gandalf has too. So, a nice little example of play. Even the paperback books, extremely good quality. Like, this is matte paper, they're thick. They're not like, it's not like a magazine. This is really, really good quality for paperback. Gandalf the Grey. Combat. Endurance and hope. Valor and wisdom. Adventuring. I love, again, just looking at the way these are laid out. All of them are in similar styles. They look like they belong together, and of course they should, because they are a set. The Shire booklet. This is a full booklet. Like, this isn't just like a magazine. This is a full source book on the Shire for anyone who wants that kind of thing. The Battle of the Green Fields. Bulwer Took. So this goes into detail on each of the 4 farthings, a brief tale of the years in the Shire reckoning dating system, a bit on the families and culture, a bit on Gandalf the Grey, of course, that menace, a bit of the geography, the major lookout things to look out for, the water, the 3 farthing stone, a bit into Hobbit walks. So this is like a miniature version of the journey rules. You just roll a feat die as opposed to having a guide who rolls travel. A grayed out grayscale map of the Shire. and then a map of the West Farthing, just the West Farthing, and goes into detail on each of the major towns and villages of the Shire, of the West Farthing. And I love that they include a bunch of random tables in here for like spending a night at the inn. It's fantastic. All these little bits and things. So you can start off a relatively low level party of hobbits and probably like 1 or 2 dwarves and bree folk, maybe not so much rangers or elves, but of course elves are always passing through the Shire, so you could definitely have a group start together, like a group of hobbits spying elves in the distance, and then they get caught up and do an adventure of whatever they're doing. And dwarves are always passing through the Shire. And just there it is, the elves on their way west. Spot by a little hobbit. The South Farthing, again with the tables. Specifically the Sparrows Rest Inn. And then we get into the North Farthing. Again, North Farthing and South Farthing seem to be the least populated, so they are the shortest. Again, bit encounters on the North Moor. I like this. Wrathful Spirit. Because that is where the Battle of the Greenfields was located, and it is close to, of course, the ancient ruins of the capital city of Arnor. The East Farthing. And this does not include Buckland. We get a few encounters for the East Road, the Hills of Skye, the Woody End, the Willow Bottom, Stock, the Marish, Woody End encounter table. Of course, all of these tables are fantastic. I love them all. And the Brandywine Ferry in Buckland Hill, Buck Hill, Brandybuck Hall. And there's Buckland, of course, not technically a part of any of the Farthings. Those queer folk who like to ride on boats, right? Brandy. So it's, again, tables, fantastic tables. The High Hay. So the hedge separating Buckland from the Old Forest. Spoilers. There we go. There's the Old Forest. And again, encounters for every spot in the Shire. And Tom Bombadil, our very own. Hey ho, Mary Dole. And Goldberry. And Old Man Willow. And we will just, to avoid spoilers, I will just kind of flip through the adventures and you can kind of take a look. Full color art. The Conspiracy of the Red Book. So the adventures are relatively linear, but I don't know. If you like to get into the mood of the Shire, give them a whirl. And I think they're relatively easy to play without the pre-generated characters. You can change them a little bit if you want. If you don't wish to use pre-generated characters and want to start off using them to start off an adventure. Expert Treasure Hunters kind of gives you a detailed map. Spoilers abound in this. Involuntary Postman. So we'll just kind of flip quickly through. There we go. And that is the starter set. I love it. Let's get into the Lore Masters screen. There we go. So this is the Lore Masters screen and Rivendell compendium, a deluxe Lore Masters screen in landscape format for the second edition of the One Ring role-playing game. It features beautiful art on the outside and a host of beautiful tables and important information on the inside, while keeping the Lore Masters schemes hidden from the eyes of inquisitive players. The Rivendell compendium contains information about the last homely house, including a map of the valley on a plain and a plan of the house itself. Some of Rivendell's inhabitants are included, including Elrond, who can be used as a new patron. Finally, there are new rules on how to create high elf player heroes. The elves in the core rulebook are meant to be the elves of Lindon, so Rivendell compendium. This is a lot shorter, but I think that's mainly because this is just Rivendell. In first edition, there was an entire book, entire hardcover book, but that included rules for magical treasure and basically all of Eastern Eriador, which I think is now covered a lot in the core rulebook. So we do not have anything to really fear. I think this is still probably worth it, especially to get the Lore Master screen. It's not nearly as big as the Shire, but like I said, a lot of the content that probably would have been in it has been stripped out, put into the core rule book to cover Eriador, and then this magical treasure that's in the core rule book that was in first edition's Rivendell book, and then the monsters also were included in the first edition book, which a lot of those undead monsters are now in the core rule book. So very nice. Elrond half-elven. So as a patron, he gives you a bonus of +1 fellowship. And by choosing the Meet Patron undertaking to visit Elrond, you additionally apply a modifier of +1 to all feat die rolls made to determine journey events. And you learn all there is to be discovered about the qualities of all marvelous artifacts and wondrous items in the company's possession. And his agenda: protect the land and preserve the legacy of the ages. So he is a lore master, first and foremost. Get a bit of Meravor, Eladon, Elohir, Eristor, Glorfindel, and I mean, I'm sure all of these could become patrons if you wanted to, but it's generally the more powerful the leaders of settlements that are patrons, and the high elves of Rivendell. They are very they're powerful with their magic. They can create magical successes, and they add one attribute, +1 to one attribute of their choice, and magical successes as long as they're not weary and they spend a point of hope. But it's really hard for them to remove shadow. They can only remove shadow during a Yule Fellowship phase and not a normal Fellowship phase. And what they get an additional 3 virtues to choose from in addition to the ones from Elves of Linden. I'm probably going to hold on to these. I know it's just paper, but alright, this is upside down. So I love this. We've got a elf, a man, and a hobbit facing off against a horde of orcs and what looks like a troll in the background. So very cool. I like that fire. Looks, oh no, those are leaves from the trees. And And here it is, the One Ring. This is the standard edition. A map of Eriador, Anello. Lead writer Francesco Nepatello. Game designers Francesco Nepatello, Marco Maggi. Additional rules development Michelle Garbugio. Additional writing James Michael Spahn and Jason Dural. Concept art Alvaro Tapia. Cover art Martin Grip. Additional art Alvaro Tapia, Martin Grip, Jan Pospiel, Nicholas Brandt, Henrik Rosenborg, Antonio De Luco, Fredericia Castini, Luco Sotogu, Danielle Solatino, Melissa Spandli, Guilidotto Betty. I am sorry for the mispronunciations. Graphic design Christian Gilaneth, Dan Algstrind, Nicholas Brandt, brand manager Robert Hyde, and Sophisticated Games. Maps Francesco Martellio, Nicholas Brandt, event manager Anna Westerling, editors John Marone and Jacob Rogers. I know that guy. PR manager Bol Berman, project managers Martin Tarchiacci and Thomas Hernslom, streaming Doug Shute and Matthew Jowett. I love it. Let's look at the back with the poem. 3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne, in the land of Mordor where shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all and in the darkness bind them, in the land of Mordor where shadows lie. I'm not going to read all of that for you. If you wish, you can pause the video and take a look. The texture of the book, I love. It feels unlike any, it's not glossy. Not big on 5th editions. Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition kind of glossy style to the games, but I love this. It feels just itself, the book itself, hardcover feels very good. Table of contents. Bilbo's Trolls. Hobbits of the Shire, Men of Bree, really legitimately considering playing a Bree-man in the upcoming game I will be a part of. I might play a Woodman once those rules come out. The Rangers of the North. And of course, the callings: 6, Captain, Champion, Messenger, Scholar, Treasure Hunter, and Warden. A little bit on previous experience. So this is the 10 experience points all characters get after their initial culture choice. Then just choosing starting gear. Character creation can really be done in like 10 to 15 minutes, if that. Very quick if you know what you're doing and know what to look for. You get useful items. A lot of people have already put into work in creating full lists of just examples of what kind of useful items people could create. Because really the sky is the limit in that instance. Then, of course, you choose a starting virtue and a starting reward, and wisdom and valor both start at level 1. These are all the patrons, so I really like that they focus on creating a company, right? Like, you are creating a company. All this artwork is fantastic. Get a little bit on experience and further adventure, a little bit on creating a heir, raising an heir. So again, this is a game that is meant to be generational in play in some degree. The Elven Lore Master. All of this art is fantastic. Little hobbit delving into some ancient barrow. The brave barding or ranger, perhaps. And I still got a lot to go through. We'll kind of jump through a little bit. He said all the virtues for the cultures. Again, cultures are very important in this game. This is really a classless game, but if you want to consider it to have classes, the classes are really tied to culture rather than calling or occupation. I'm very excited for life paths. That's similar, same artwork from the Lore Master screen. Get on combat. There you go, so these are the stances. Forward, open, defensive, rearward. I love this little bit, complications and advantages. A way to create a theme around the combat rather than, really allowing players to kind of dictate a little bit around that. What kind of bonuses they can kind of fire. They really should be talking to Vormas and being like, okay, well, what if I try to do this? What if I want to try to pick up this torch? What kind of bonus can that get? I want to kick up these embers in someone's face. So push someone into the mud. What kind of bonuses can I get? Yes, the fellowship phase. All of these fellowship. I like that they made the fellowship phase a lot more dedicated to the company. It's the company doing a fellowship phase together, and then you will fellowship phases when you go off on your own. So now people are, the undertakings are done as a group, which I really like it. I think it encourages it a little bit more. Maybe they can talk, players can talk that through and see like what they want to do. A bit of Lore Master rules. Bit on shadow, gaining shadow, that sort of thing. The various shadow paths that players will go through if the right events take place. The 9, the Witch King, and the Nazgul. Of course, I feel like that will be a major thing. So there's a decent amount of things. I wish they would have put spiders, but they didn't. So we got evil men, a good chunk of various types of evil men, from raiders to highway robbers and ruffians and footpads. Orcs. So orcs are a step up from evil men, especially some of the bigger ones. The Great Orc Chief is someone to contend with. Even the Great Orc Bodyguard, someone to contend with. Then you get some of the weaker ones. Goblin Archers, they're kind of weak. But the Orc Chieftain and Orc Soldier, Orc God, are kind of mid-tier. You kind of tell that by the attribute level and endurance of the easiest way to tell that. Trolls. So get a little bit of detail on trolls and that sort of thing. And then undead. And wolves are the last kind of enemies, and they get 3 types of wolves here. Magical treasure replaces cultural rewards from the first edition. But they basically work in the same way as in first edition, finding magical treasure. Although it's potentially a little bit more common, but still up to the lore master exactly how magical he wants to create the games. Everyone should probably have at least one kind of magical item that marks them apart. How powerful it is up to the lore master. So it's kind of nifty in that way. Bits of setting information on the world. We're going to kind of skim through. We're getting up to 30 minutes, past 30 minutes, so let's just kind of flip through. And then the appendix. So basically everything that didn't really fit, they'll throw in. So get the patrons officially, Caradan the Shipwright, Gandalf the Grey, Gilrain, Mother of Aragorn, Tom and Goldberry as patrons, and then landmarks. And I'm not going to read this super in depth because I plan on playing this at some point, and I don't really want to be spoiled. So we'll just kind of know a little bit what it deals with already, but it's kind of hard to avoid these things. A nameless thing generator. So if you feel like the bestiary is lacking, you definitely have these nameless things that can help you to populate your world with a whole bunch of different types of monsters. And then a sample character sheet. And then there should also be a sample journey sheet. So players are meant to draw a map of their journey along the path. So that's kind of cool. And keep a little journal of events. You put all your ponies, horses there, and the company, and yeah, those types of events. Very cool. I will be going through this. The content is the same. It's just leather and whatnot, and less looks less like a sales book. But I will be going through this in a live stream and taking questions on rules and that sort of thing. So stay tuned for that. And I will be opening up this separately. I have played this game, but we will look through this separately. I guess I should open the cloth map. I will open the cloth maps and kind of do that. So we'll do that next. All right, so I did open these off camera, but this is coming near the end of the unboxing. These are the cloth maps, the Shire map. I love it. Look at this. This quality is very, very nice, I think. If you got these, they're definitely worth it to play with them at the table. Just make sure your Cheeto hands are off. And the area door map. Again, it's the same map as the paper map, but bigger. Oh, we still show Michael Delvine, Hobbiton, Brandywine Bridge. There we go. Fantastic. All right. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to be bringing more content shortly. Like I said, we will be opening the Red Book Collector's Edition live on stream on YouTube. So I would like you to watch that. Please like the video, comment questions about the rules. And if you back the Kickstarter, let me know what you guys think too. Thank you. Have a fantastic adventure in Middle Earth.